Hi Tech and Talk, this is Man, your mentor, and today we are going to create a 17th video on tour management system. Till now, we focused on what are the views after login, but we pretty much ignored the login view itself. If you go to the store management system and if you are already logged in, click on logout button. Now you can see this login view, and this will be the default view of this application. Let's say I am hitting the route, the base router, the base URL. I will be redirected to login view, so that will be the first view for every user who is willing to use this system. If you see, the login view is not pretty much in shape. You can see logout button in the header, the other options as well, which I don't think so are useful in the login view. And if you see the login text, you can see the login model underneath that one, which is a kind of text coming from Visual Studio template. So we should not have that here as well. And the back to list and the create button, that should be login button. So let's improve our login view in this video. Although we did plan to create the or introduce the categories for products in our last video, but I was thinking, why not let's improve the login view, because this is the first view and the first impression of the system for the new and every other user. So let me go to the code, and straight away I will go to the presentation, and we have the authentication controller here. We have that login view which is presenting as the default login view on the page. But before that, we should go to the layout.css table where we are showing the header on the top. So if the user is not logged in, I don't think so we need to show that menu for the unauthorized unauthenticated users. For that one, I will simply put if statement inside header. I will say if user, not that user, user with capital U dot identity like this dot is authenticated, then we should display for the content inside the header. This is the first thing, but what we can say, we need to check that user.identity should not be equal to null and user.identity dot is authenticated, because identity could be null, so we are checking the identity is not null and the user is actually authenticated. So let me press Ctrl S and Ctrl F5, and if I go to the view again, now you can see the header is gone, which is good. The next thing, we want this login view somewhere at the middle of the page, and we need some text updates on that view as well. For that one, I will go back to the login view.cshtml. We don't need h4 here, but we need h1. H1 should say store management system instead of login, and I think we should have a div around the heading and the horizontal rule. Why is that so? Because we don't want that section to take all the width. We want this section to take only, let's say, column for mid screens, and we want only take 5 columns in width. Also, apart from this, I would want to apply some style. Margin should be auto and 0, I guess. Yeah, and the margin top should be around Control F5 to see the results. It's getting refreshed. So yeah, we have those changes reflected on the page, but I think we applied the auto margin in somewhere wrong. So yeah, we should be doing 0 and auto instead of auto and 0 like this. So let's go back to these styles and let's apply 0 auto. We will be copying the same style from here. And why is that so? Because we need that one here as well. So Okay, and we don't need margin top in that case. Let me double check the changes on the view now. Alright, yeah, so now that seems much better now. So now we can see that it's a store management and we are looking to log into that system. Second last thing, we should not have that back to list link here, and the last thing would be that button should take all the width of that form. So and then yeah, one more thing I just observed, that the create text should not be, the text should not be create here. It should be something like login. First of all, let's directly change the text of that button, which should be login. We can apply width of 100% here, and the last thing was that link. We can just remove that. Now let's verify our changes. Yeah, so that's looking much better now, I guess. And yeah, what we can next do is we can put some top margin on that button. So for that one, what we can say, margin, I guess it's empty, and I want empty of 2. So empty stand for margin. So now we should, yeah, I don't think so we have applied margin here. Instead we have applied, okay, now you can see margin of around 0.5 rem has been applied from the top. So now it's pretty much looking much better. So now this is the new login view for us, and by default this view will appear when our user try to run this application. Let's say now I put the valid credentials and I click on login. I should be navigate to the store management system, and as soon as I click on logout, the header will disappear, the extra information is disappeared, and we can see that, much better and smart view for the login. So that was all for this video. In case of any question query, do ask me in the comments, and till the next video, keep coding.